make you do that? Something ain't adding up. Something's not adding up. Either you are a plant, you've been planted by the enemy, you are a psyop, or you mental handicap, or you evil, because it's not adding up. It's just not adding up. It should not be one single person with brown and dark brown skin saying the word hate out of their mouth, ever. Because that is a weapon of the enemy. That's a weapon of the enemy that has harmed me for more than 54 years of my 62 years. I've been on this earth for 62 years. And my environment and my enemy, America, has harmed me for 54 years. That's more than half of my life. For 54 years, America took upon themselves to put things in place to harm me, all because of my skin color. All because I'm a descendant of a Negro. Human beings that America made a slave. So America decided before I was born that I was going to be harmed. America created an environment to make sure that I would be harmed before I took my first breath. That was in place. That was already in place before I took my first breath. So now, with my lived experience and my research, I have a clear understanding that America put things in place to harm me for 54 years. And you know what that means? America took my ethnicity, that was my mother's ethnicity, Negro, and decided to change it. And change it to Black American and African American. Just woke up one day and decided that I was not entitled to a birthright. That the birthright that was put on my birth certificate did not matter. That they wanted to change it. Did they ask my mother? Did they ask my grandfather? Did they ask my grandmother? Did they ask my great-grandfather? Did America ask my great-grandmother, could they change their ethnicity to Black American and African American? So, America made that decision. They didn't get my permission. They didn't get my mother's permission. But they did it because they wanted to wash that blood off of their hands for Negro slavery. All because of Negro slavery, America decided that my birthright didn't matter. They wanted me to be told to identify as Black American and African American. But my paperwork did not say Black American. My paperwork did not say African American. My mother's paperwork did not say Black American. My mother's paperwork did not say African American. My mother's paperwork said Negro. My mother's paperwork said Negro, and I came out of my mother's stomach. That makes me a Negro. That's biology. That's simple biology. That God decided. God made that decision. God made that decision that I was going to be birthed into the world a Negro. America cannot change that. The The Congress cannot change that. Senators cannot change that. The president and the vice president don't have the right to change that. The OMB does not have the right to change that. Only God. Only God has the right to change that. Because when I came into the world, I was birthed into the world, and my mother took me from the hospital. I was born at home. My mother didn't make it to the hospital. So I was a birth that took place at home. And then they had to transfer me to the hospital. They thought I was gonna die. My mother told me about it. She said they really, really thought I was gonna die. They had to put me in some type of machine because I wasn't gaining weight. And I survived with the blessing of the good Lord. But my mother told me that. She shared that with me. And I constantly think about it. That was a blessing from the Heavenly Father. That my mother did not lose me. That I didn't die. That the good Lord blessed me to live. So, America is not going to take my birthright. No immigrant from Jamaica, Haiti, the Bahamas, Ethiopian, Nigerian, Europe, or Canada, or Pan-African is going to black flatten me. You don't have the right to tell me that I have to identify as black flatness. I'm not a black flatness. I am a human being with a birthright, the same way you have a birthright. Ronald, the hard black truth. African black. All of you Pan-Africans. Why do you think you have the right to black flatness, Negroes and black Americans? Why do you think you're God? Why does delineation cause so much vitriol? Why? I would just really kind of like to know, why are the Pan-Africans so upset about a word called delineation? Well, in the last 48 hours, they have started changing their tune. I got to go to bed. I'm glad that I went into that room, anonymous, cultivating. I'm so thankful to the Heavenly Father that he put it in my spirit to go in that room today. I got a chance to witness in real time how quickly Pan-Africans can change their tune. I put Ronald and the Hard Black Truth name in my title on the 4th. I put the two persons' name that you see in my title right now a little before midnight. And before I left out of cultivating room, they had already changed their tune. They were all nice. They were so nice, I couldn't even recognize their voice. They were so downright nice, I could not even recognize their voice. How quickly that fake niceness started spewing out their mouth. Oh, we just all need to come together. We all brothers and sisters. We don't need to be fighting each other. We don't need to be fighting each other. We have the same enemy. We all black. We all black. We have the same enemy. Downright fakeness. And the only reason why that happened is because they've been listening to my broadcast. Oh, they would not have changed it up. I just started that new broadcast on the 4th. I just posted a 2-part, 2-hour long audio on the 4th of February. And they already done started changing their tune. See how quickly human beings can check their character when they really want to be fake? When they called out, human beings can correct themselves in real time, and I got a chance to witness it tonight when I was listening anonymous in cultivating room. No less than 2 hours after I posted their name and my title, they started being nice. They started talking nice. They started talking nice. Oh, we don't need to fight anymore. We don't need to fight anymore. We just all need to come together because we got the same enemy. We have the same enemy. My mother and how I was raised and grew up, how folks can be backstabbers and fake. I don't trust you no further than I can throw you. I don't trust you no further than I can throw you. I spent more than a year sending each of you, many of you, a direct link to join my boycott, and you rejected it. I went into your spaces and tried to have conversations with you, and I was attacked because I didn't want to identify as African American or Pan-African. I got attacked. I came back more than 1 time, more than 2 times, more than 3 times, and I subjected myself to it because that's the way my mother raised me. I said, I'm going to make an effort to connect with these persons. I don't know them from a can of paint, but I'm going to put myself out there, and I'm going to try to reach and make a connection. And that was met with, when I raised my hand to come on stage, I didn't get respect. I didn't get that. But I came back and I subjected myself to it. And I know I have a clear conscience that I made an effort. I even sent Black 666, African Black. I sent him a direct message in the back channel, reaching out, trying to make a connection. I didn't get no reception to it. I didn't make a big deal of it. I didn't try to get upset about it. I just let it go. I said that I made my decision to send that person a direct message, asking, trying to open the lines of communication that can we figure out a way to bring the different individuals who are in disagreement with each other, close what is dividing us. And I didn't get a reception on it. I didn't run around on Twitter and talk about it. I just kept it to myself. I kept it to myself until African Black tried to dump on Negro. The same way Trinity and the Duke of Pan-African made a whole recording. Y'all call them misinformation. This man, who ethnicity is Trinidad, made a whole little recording. So whenever he opened a room on Twitter and the conversation is on the stage, all of a sudden he'll turn on that recording. That's a sick Negro. It goes something like, that's a sick Negro. So I decided to return the favor. That's why I put his name in my title, that misinformation, the ranger, is a sick person because he took upon himself to disrespect my ethnicity and disrespect my mother and disrespect my grandfather and disrespect my grandmother and disrespect my great-grandfather and disrespect my great-grandmother. I never took upon myself to disrespect anyone in Trinity, the Duke of Pan Africa, misinformation family members. I never did that. I'm never going to do that. But why did he think that he had the liberty to do that about my ethnicity? And so I went over to YouTube, and somebody on a YouTube channel on YouTube is playing that same recording that Trinity made. I don't know how many other persons have recorded it. At any time they want to try to paint Negro in a negative light, they turn on that recording. So what is the difference between that action and what America has done to me for 54 years, more than half of my life? What is the difference? Can anyone explain that to me? I didn't do anything to try to paint Trinity, the Duke of Pan African, and many Pan Africans in a negative light. I ain't never done anything to try to paint their ethnicity and their nation in a negative light. I ain't got on no public app and made any room to talk about putting down Jamaicans. I ain't never opened a room, a Twitter space, and talked down about Jamaicans. I ain't never opened a Twitter space and talked down about Haitians. I ain't never opened a Twitter room and talked down about Ethiopians and Nigerians. I ain't never done that, and I'm never going to do that. I wasn't raised that way. My mother didn't raise me that way. And I hold myself to a high standard. But it seems to be something that folks are breathing in the air. Every immigrant that comes from another nation feel they have the green light to talk down on Negroes and Black Americans. And Freeman and ADOS and FBA. Because African American is a made up term. It's made up. And America done it on purpose to harm descendants of Negroes. That's the only reason why the term African American was invented. Because Black American and African American do not have a recognized ethnicity. That's how much America disrespect. That's the level of disrespect that America have for persons that they have decided to reclassify. So America and the OMB and the whole world and Donald Trump and the Congress and the Senate all decided that Negroes / Black Americans don't deserve a birthright. But every other human being walking around on two legs have a recognized birthright. So why do everyone seem to be okay with that? Why do Germans seem to be okay with that, but then they can come crying to Negroes and Black Americans and claim they want unity? Irish, Asians, Latinos, Mexicans, Jamaicans, Haitians, Bahamas, Ethiopians, Nigerians, everybody, Palestinians, every ethnicity, whenever they are being mistreated, they want the Negroes and the Black Americans to support their movement, their fight. But no one came to support our fight against America. No one has stayed around and made the sacrifice for 150 years. No one cared enough to fight that we, as Negroes and Black Americans and freemen, ADOS and LPA, no one cared. Not any of these ethnicities cared enough to help and support the fight that we have been doing against America for over 400 years. And we have to wake up every day knowing that our own country don't recognize our birthright. But you, human beings, care more about unity when our fight is for our birthright. But what matters to all of you immigrants, all of you fake ethnicities that want to claim that you want ally with us, but it don't seem to matter to you that America don't recognize our birthright. You have a birthright. A Jamaican has a recognized birthright. A Jamaican has a recognized national origin. A Jamaican has a recognized nation. Negroes, Black Americans, freemen, ADOS, and LPA, we don't have any of those three. Not one. But everyone can come crying to the Negroes and Black Americans anytime they want to claim that we have the same enemy. We don't seem to have the same enemy because not one of you seem to be caring 1 ounce about the fact that America is refusing to recognize our birthright. America is trying to erase our ancestors' history. They are literally taking an ink pen and trying to wash it down the drain so they can insert Germans and Irish and Asians and Latinos into that 246 years. Are any of you immigrants or any of you Pan-Africans upset about that? I don't hear it. I don't hear any of you being concerned about it. I don't see any of you opening Twitter spaces and talking about it. It don't seem to be of importance to you. No, the only thing that's important to you, selfish human beings, are fake Pan-African, fake unity, and black flatness. A black flatness that's totally unbelievable. I will repeat again, I never thought I would live to see the day. I never thought I would live to see the day when other human beings will be so selfish, so jealous of another human being fighting their country for their birthright. And then you get on a public app day after day and paint a narrative that you being divisive, you being anti-black, you are hating yourself. You hate all immigrants. Paint every kind of narrative that you can to make yourself feel good, all because you are selfish. You know, I don't know how you can get upset with another human being fighting their country to be recognized as a human being. I could never go to Jamaican and tell any person in Jamaica, they don't have the right to fight their country to be recognized, to recognize their birthright. But you individual human beings care more about black flatness. You really have convinced yourself that folks are going to unify all because they have brown skin. That's how delusional, y'all, this has went. This is how delusional it has gotten. That human beings think that all because human beings have melanated skin, they're just going to automatically want to unify. No, that's not how life works. If human beings interact with each other, and when they first interact with each other, each person is evaluating each other. Human beings know whether they have something in common. They know whether they want to continue to get to know each other and build trust. That's a built-in instinct. That's a built-in instinct from the moment we interact with each other. We make that split-second evaluation of whether or not we want to invest more time to get to know each other. Whether we want to invest more time to build respect for one another. To invest more time to build trust. To build real trust so that you never have to say the word unity out your mouth. Because if you put in the work, to get to know each other and make the connection, you're not going to never have to say the word unity. It's going to be unspoken. It's going to be unspoken because you're going to show it with your action. You're not going to have to say the word. Your actions are going to speak louder than words. That's what I have experienced with my life. I'm speaking from lived experience. Over my 62 years, all the individual persons that I have interacted with and gotten to know, that's how it turned out. We met each other. We encountered each other. We started interacting with each other. We started getting to know each other. We started building respect. We started building trust. Sometimes we made a connection. Sometimes we parted ways. Sometimes we made a connection. Sometimes we parted ways. That's life. That's a human being. A human being don't need someone to tell them that they have to unify. A human being don't need another person telling them they have to trust them. Your actions are going to speak louder than words. I know that from lived experience, that my actions will always speak louder than any words that I can say out of my mouth. And so that's the way I have lived my life. And it has served me well. So that's why I detest the fake Pan-Africa. I detest the fake unity. Because you persons wouldn't be crying about unity if things were not really getting hot in the kitchen. Because you folks didn't care about unifying and caring about the well-being of Negroes and Black Americans. You didn't care about it when America was telling everybody that Negroes were drug addicts and criminals and lazy. You didn't care about that. You just went about your merry day and believed the narrative and the propaganda that America programmed you to believe. You didn't say, I'm going to do my research and really try to get to know Negroes and Black Americans and all the other terms that we use. I'm going to show them respect. If they tell me that they want to be identified or addressed as a Negro, I'm going to identify them as a Negro. Whenever I interact with them and I talk to them, if they tell me that they identify as Negro, I'm not going to call them African American and be disrespectful. A pariah is a sorry human being, and somebody needs to check that man. Someone needs to check him. He thinks he's getting away with saying nigger. Y'all have given him too much free rein to say nigger. At any time he start talking, that's the first word that come out of his mouth. And he sound like the enemy. He sound like the enemy every time he say it. Somebody needs to check him. Somebody needs to check a pariah, because he's full of himself. That man has a dedication to looking down on Negroes and Black Americans. I think he takes great pride in it. He really do. And now persons like him want to cry unity. What delusional world do you folks live in? I really would like to know. What delusional world do you live in? A pariah is a sorry human being, and somebody needs to check that man. Someone needs to check him. He thinks he's getting away with saying nigger. Y'all have given him too much free rein to say nigger. At any time he start talking, that's the first word that come out of his mouth. And he sound like the enemy. He sound like the enemy every time he say it. Somebody needs to check him. Somebody needs to check a pariah, because he's full of himself. That man has a dedication to looking down on Negroes and Black Americans. I think he takes great pride in it. He really do. And now persons like him want to cry unity. What delusional world do you folks live in? I really would like to know. What delusional world do you live in? Because somebody told you, someone told your little brain that you could come to another person's country and talk down to them. And then, in the same breath, claim you want unity. I could never go to the continent or Jamaica and talk down on those persons and then say out of my mouth, I want to unify with you. I would have to be delusional. But